quick recipe is going to be these ingredients here. We're going to have some citrus. I have some oranges. You can do grapefruit. You can do mandarins, whatever you have. Red onion, cabbage. You can do red onion or scallions. An avocado. This is quite a big avocado. Any herb you like. I have a little strip of yellow pepper, which is great. It can be green, red for color. I just have this one because I used some for yesterday, but I have leftover, so always use. And any herb you like. Cilantro will be a traditional one, but because I have my little plant of basil, I actually have some of these leaves that are already washed. I'm going to do that. But so to show you how do we get to this point, this is my knife skills for citrus. Really great. So grate your fruit, and they're going to do the following. And you're going to work over a bowl. I have a little bit of this already. So cut your like that big chunk of it. So you could see a really nice, clean, round edge. You see the fruit in there. So you see these ones, all these are great for the juice. So you're going to go and squeeze. Also, nice tip. When you're squeezing, you know, you have two hands. I'm using my hand with this for the knife. This hand that I'm holding in knife never gets wet. Cannot be wet. I cannot squeeze with this hand and then go back and grab the net. That's not safe. You can slip the knife and have a cut. The other one, that's fine. So that's why I grab it with this other hand while I keep grabbing and squeeze that part. All right. Always, and it applies in many cases. So you want to keep the knife as the hand that's holding the knife. So now we're going to do these, just like a little circular motion around the orange. But see how easy it goes the knife when it's sharp? There's just like no comparison. And then always keep your cutting board nice and clean. So you're going almost with a little bit of a, like around the fruit, but you want to make sure that there's no, just as clean as possible. See this little part? Then you can just shave it with your knife like that. Because you want a really nice, clean piece of fruit. Over a bowl, you're going to work directly over a bowl because there's a lot of juices still coming from here, and that we want all that flavor into our ceviche or our cocktail. So go like that. Very easily. Just you're going to need the segments. So you're removing these parts. You're actually not changing them. You're just flipping them. And you know, there's little membranes in between the segments. You don't want that. That can make it the fruit taste a little bitter. And you know, it's practice. Just take your time. So if you see one of these seeds, that's fine. You're not going to use it. You can actually take it out. And see how you, with this hand, you grab the other side and just get the segments. You know, it takes a little practice, but it's really good. And, you know, you don't have to do it all the time, but it's always good to practice this. And if you're doing this to someone you care about, you're showing, you know, that you put some effort in cutting this nicely for that person, which is always good. You're dedicating time to entertain friends and family. So anyway, here's our last piece. So now we finished this one, but there's a lot of juice in here. So again, with that same hand, not the one with the knife, go and squeeze to get all that out. I'll just go quickly with this one that I already have. And you don't go, you know, with a sharp, you do without an angle and it immediately comes out. Oh, and then if you see any little seed, take it out because again, you don't want seeds in your cocktail as much as possible. Okay, so now the rest of the ingredients are gonna be small chopped also, just because we wanted, you know, to serve it. This is with a little spoon, catch all the juices, catch all the little pieces. And we're gonna have also, we're gonna play with textures. We have a lot of the vitamins and minerals from the citrus. We're gonna have texture with a little bit of red cabbage, could be green. So get all that juice and discard. Okay, so now we're just gonna add the rest of it. You've seen me cut peppers before. I have just like my strips, do them in strips. And then in small pieces. Always remember your fingers is the bear claw. I call it the bear claw. It has to be like that so that your knuckles touch the blade. That'll be your guide so that you don't cut yourself. And this one here is tricky, that the thumb always behind the rest of your fingers. Okay, so this is our pepper, goes in. Now we're gonna go with, I'm gonna show you how to do really nice piece of onion. So this is our red onion. I cut it in half and peeled it. But since I wanna get a little bit, traditionally, you know, we would go like this, we cut it across, then we cut it on this side horizontally, and then we'll chop it, which is fine. But in this case, actually, I'm gonna make it a little bit more refined. So I'm gonna do, because we're not gonna use a lot, so I get almost like a layer. You can get two. And then to that layer, we're going to slice it. If you're very picky about it, you even want to slice it, you know, as horizontal as possible, and then flatten it as much as possible. And then see how like it's really pretty, because this is the dish to make things look really pretty, really small and very perfectly fine. You don't want to take the time, like you can just rough chop it. I'll show you quickly with another one. You can flatten it a little bit. Doesn't matter, you can then just like this. And there you go. So in goes to our bowl. We'll stop it there. And then just a little bit of the cabbage is going to actually give a little bit of nice color. I already cleaned it, but if you have a little bit of the dry outside, just remove them. And same thing for here. You actually can do just a couple of slices like that. A little goes a long way in here. And then slice again into thin strips. These ones I'll kind of move them across and then try to cut them a little smaller. I just like the crunch, but remember cabbage is amazing in terms of the nutrients and the fiber it has. So definitely great, not only for you, but for a lot of the good bacteria that we have in our gut. It helps a lot they will make things like vitamin B, for example, for us. So I'll put it in there and it'll give a nice crunch too. I was talking about textures. And then finally, our avocado. I want to show you how it's coming together. Again, go ahead like that. You can toss it. This looks better. Even the color, you can see it, right? Okay, so yeah, can you compare? This one's kind of like, there's a word in Spanish, pasmado, which is like, kind of like, I don't know, the translation might be stuck, but it's kind of like in between ripe and still hard. Not good to do that. This is better. Okay, so then for this one, we'll just also dice small pieces. So this is what we've mentioned before for avocados, some really nice healthy fat. I've seen this also, you know, if you happen to still have some of the fresh corn for the season from a farmer's market, you can add, you know, you can boil a little bit of the corn for a few minutes, then chill it, and then you just take the kernels and add them. It's great. If you have jicama, we used jicama before, you know, it's like a root vegetable that you don't have to cook. And so here we go. And then, so you can let it marinate briefly. Like even like 30 minutes is good enough just to get all the flavors going. I have basil with me. Make sure your basil is nice. You wash them and dry the leaves. Here's my little plant that I still have. And I'm like, and you know, you need to use it before it goes bad. So for the basil, you know, you have many options. You could do, like they say, you make it little, you can roll it and then get little pieces. I've also seen this, and you know, by all means, do what you can just with the scissors. Go like that once you make the, and you know, kitchen scissors that are nice and clean. So you can just do that instead of the knife. I like the knife because it's just faster, but sometimes You can do like that. And once you have it like in the strips, you can go with your knife just a little bit, because you know, basil can be very fragrant and it's great. So I'm using it here, but you can use cilantro, but I like it. And you'll just give, yeah, I can smell it. And it's giving a pop really into this. Finally, optional. This is a completely good to have like that. You can serve it with a little bit of like, even like some baked tortilla chips, for example, that would be good. For options too, you can have just a little bit of tofu. I have some extra firm tofu. This doesn't need to be cooked. It's just rinsed, you know, from the package. And then, which is a great way to use tofu because all the flavor is here. And so the tofu is just going to combine with the flavor of the citrus, the onions, the avocado, and it's just going to go really good. And you're sourcing it with a very good source of protein that is very lean. So you can then season it just a little bit with some salt. If you want some pepper, if you want it spicy, you can put a jalapeno, for example, chopped. That's perfectly good. And there you go. That's your ceviche, your veggie ceviche. Now, finally, I just want one more thing that I was talking about grains. Just want to show you something I did earlier, because I just want to give you a little bit of inspiration. So this is a grain. It's called sorghum. You get it in the store. It's like $5. This is 1.5 pounds. So looks like this. So I'll show you. And don't be afraid. You cook it like you would almost like brown rice or like whole wheat. You just put it with water, a couple of 3 inches of water above the grain, some salt, some pepper, a bay leaf, and then just bring it to a boil and cook it. It takes some time, but it's fine. It ends up looking almost like couscous, and I'm going to show you what I did. And this is the dish. If you look at it, this is the grain. I put some beans, pinto beans in it. I put some onions, cilantro, spinach. I chopped spinach. It's really hearty, a lot of protein too. But if you see, it just puffs up, and it's actually very soft. They use it in India and in Africa for a lot of things, and I think we don't use it enough. So if you're tired of, you know, rice or something, look for ideas. I like this is Bob's Red Mill. They have, I think it's called Grains of Discovery, whole grain sorghum. So just try it out, see options if you like it. But basically, it's like any other grain. You can do whatever you want, like in this case. I do it on the Instapot, but it takes about 50 minutes or something like that at a boil, uncovered. If you do a pressure cooker or an Instapot, you can cut that in half. It says actually, yeah, the package says multi-cooking, like an Instapot, it's like maybe 30 minutes or so. So it's actually great, but you can do it just, or you can do it in a slow cooker and just take that for longer, like I think like 4 hours or something like that. But it's up to you. Just boil it in a pressure cooker or Instapot or the slow cooker. Either one works.